Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 196 of the RRBG Podcast. The RRBG Podcast is a proud member of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com to check out the list of amazing shows that we got going on, including Robots for Eyes. And if you're into something a little more on the paranormal side, there's Paranormal Punchers. If you'd like to take a deep dive into the dark multiverse of Stephen King, there's a podcast for that as well. Tons of great shows, all about different topics. I'm sure you'll find something you'll love. Go to podbelly.com and support the network. Valentine's Day is coming up. You know what that means? Time to get a gift. There's no more traditional gift for Valentine's Day than underwear. If you've got a boyfriend, the sheath underwear come with a little pouch that carries his boys around and not only gives him an incredible amount of support, but also gives a nice dick print, if you know what I'm saying. The ladies appreciate it, the men appreciate it, everybody appreciates it. And if your significant other is a female, well, guess what? They have female underwear as well, and it's super soft to the touch. You're going to have this internal struggle in your head about whether or not you want to even take it off of her. Go to sheathunderwear.com, use my promo code RRBG, and save 20%. It's a win-win for everyone. And guess what? I know what you're saying. Oh, I'm single on Valentine's Day. Well, get yourself some sheath underwear, and you'll never be single again. This podcast is also brought to you by Yucateco Hot Sauce. You know, I got to tell you, I've been eating a lot more Mexican food these days as I live in LA, and it's just inevitable at this point. So having a really good hot sauce at my disposal is kind of crucial. And my go-to right now is Yucateco Hot Sauce. They are a staple. They come in so many different flavors. You can get the verde sauce with jalapenos, or you can get the habanero sauce. They have this special black sauce, which is a special reserve sauce. I mean, for whatever level Scoville you can handle, I'm sure you can find yourself a sauce here. And if you go to shop Yucateco.com, use the promo code RRBG, and you'll get 10% off of your purchase. This podcast is also brought to you by Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com and check out all the awesome products they have there, including the new Book of Saints that comes with 4 packs of pre-rolled joints. It's this incredible, lavish, luxurious-looking gold foil stash box. The works. It's the best-looking stash box I've seen. Make sure to go pick one up before they're all gone. And also check out the new hash-infused pre-rolls. Don't forget, it's saintsjoints.com, and make sure you tell them that we sent you. In this episode, I talked to professional wrestler Jeff Cobb. He's got a match coming up on Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 4 on February 13th. You can catch that on bloodsport.watch. We talked a little bit about that. We talk a little bit about his career in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We talk about his aspirations. We talk a little bit about his health. We talk a little bit about the pandemic. It was a fun chat, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow him on social media at Jeff Cobb. Also, make sure to follow Josh Barnett's Bloodsport on social media and catch the pay-per-view February 13th. And please check out the Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG. Cheers. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Jeff Cobb. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. You're out in Japan right now?
Yeah. Having some fun, getting ready to go on tour soon. So, yeah, just killing some time.
How are the restrictions over there for flying? I mean, I would imagine it's a pain in the ass with the quarantining and everything.
Yeah, so they're only letting residents in. We have residence cards with New Japan.
Nice.
So we come in, we quarantine for a little bit, and then it's back to normal. Pretty much just wear a mask and try to social distance as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And when did you make the official move over there? Because I know you were in LA for a while, right?
No, I just come here over because it's easier to get a residence card for us because we're always in and out. We're in and out for tours. Before the pandemic, we would come in for a week or 2 or 3, sometimes a month, and then go home and then come back. It's just easier for us to get in and out. And if we had a residence card, that's quicker too. Like when we go through customs. Right.
Yeah. So do you still have, did you live in LA? Cause I remember seeing you out here all the time. I mean, you were doing local shows.
I lived in, I used to live in Sacramento area, and then now I reside in Las Vegas.
Vegas. Okay. Cool.
Cheaper out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's much cheaper than LA or Sacramento for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, I that's where I got to meet you. I met you actually at one of the brewery shows, that the Bumps and Bruises.
That was a good time, man. I like that place. Like, I took a bunch of beers home, and it's actually pretty good. Not bad. Yeah, I mean, I have 4 cans that I haven't opened yet, just because it's cool, like, to see yourself on a beer can. But I don't think I'm gonna.
Right. Yeah.
That's really old.
Yeah, at this point, that doesn't taste very good for sure. But yeah, that was a fun time, man. I remember, I messaged a buddy of mine who's a way bigger wrestling fan than I was at the time. Like, I was a fan, but I wasn't really, as knowledgeable about the local scene, about PWG and like all that stuff. So he was informed. He's like, dude, you got to watch Jeff Cobb. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got really stoked on that. And then you guys tore the house down that night. And then I just followed your career as you were like doing PWG, you're doing New Japan, and now you're doing Bloodsport 4. This is your first Bloodsport, right?
Yeah. I've always wanted to do it. Schedule's never lined up. Definitely, I was trying so hard. It was a last minute decision for the one in New York during Wrestlemania weekend, and I was trying so hard to get on that. But just at the time, I was under contract with the Ring of Honor, and they were kind of iffy about it, just because like we had a really big show at the Madison Square Garden, like a day or two later, and they were worried about like if I got hurt there, then would I have been able at the Garden. So, and I understood where they're coming from, but like I still came, I still went, I still supported. It was a great show, top to bottom. I think the main event match was Minoru Suzuki and Josh Barnett, and that one did not fail to deliver it whatsoever. And I was like, dude, I was up on the balcony watching, and every match I was like I was getting a little like I was like wincing. I was like, oh, get him. Oh man, that should have been me. It could have been me, but I get it. But you know what? Good things come to those who wait, and lo and behold, I'm finally here.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. I'm excited to see the match. It's on pay-per-view February 13th. You had a match with Chris Dickinson, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got, he's been on a roll with Bloodsport. He's been, I think he's been in all of them, or at least in 3 of them, or two or 3 of them. But last time he was up against John Moxley, who, he's current AEW, or not anymore, actually. He's not the AEW champion anymore, but at the time he was the AEW champion. So I was really, I hit up Josh. I'm like, this is exciting, man, because that's going to bring more eyes to the product. Whoever's a fan of AEW and a fan of Mox is going to turn their eyes to see what's going on with Bloodsport. And what you just said, that they were worried about you getting hurt, like that shows you the type of show Bloodsport is. Like it's a very unique thing. How would you compare it to, everything else that you've worked on or worked with?
It's definitely a different type of the wrestling aspect of it. Like there's no ropes, so there's nobody doing what is it, like little flippy things or whatnot. No, this is just straight face to the mat, put my forearm in your face, cross your mouth, and bend this one way, bend that one way, suplex you here, suplex you here, jump, and you drop you on your head. And I definitely love that, because that's what wrestling is. Like wrestling is, in my opinion, should be closer to that style, and it's definitely something that I thoroughly enjoy. There's all these guys that keep coming back to do this, although it's very, very grueling on the body, because you can only win by a knockout or
submission, right?
Yeah, or you can't continue anymore, and like that's not good for
for your health.
Thing you want to do every day. But if you look at the roster of people that are always like trying to be on the shows all the time, or who's on the shows multiple times, like there's a reason why, and it's definitely the style, it's the competitiveness, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, because it's a fusion of MMA and pro wrestling, and shoot style, or strong style, however you want to call it. But that always has been way more appealing to me than the stuff that you see on TV most of the time, because like you said, the flippy stuff, that stuff is cool, it's cool athletics. It's entertainment to like see somebody do some crazy, athletic feats. But it makes it seem a little more phony. You know what I mean? It makes it like, oh, it's a little more choreographed. Like these dudes are waiting around. There's dudes waiting outside for you to do your flip off the ropes. It doesn't feel like a real competition. It breaks that the suspension of disbelief or whatever.
Yeah, like I mean, and no disrespect to the guys that do that stuff, but like for me. Yeah. That's just not my cup of tea, man. Like when I'm in there, I'm going to throw your ass around the ring. I'm going to grind, because I'm amateur wrestling background. We're supposed to be grinding the guy down. We're supposed to break the man down until he can't go anymore. And that's the style I love. And that's what I like to do. And yeah. And it's, I'm happy that that's getting showcased on something as big as Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, man. It's a platform.
For sure. And I love that it's getting more and more attention every time there's a new Bloodsport. More eyes are turning to it. And even you look at what WWE tried to do. They're trying to mimic some of it, like they're doing that underground shit that didn't last very long for them. But it shows that there is potential there, that if they're willing to take a shot at it, and also they're bringing in a couple of talented guys. I know that one of Barnett's dudes, Timothy Thatcher, is over there now, and he's doing fight pits and whatnot and trying to make it look as shoot as possible for what they do, which is a different thing than what they do in New Japan or what Josh is doing with Bloodsport.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like when done right, it's beautiful, because that's what wrestling is. Like, I mean, when you look back to the early days of professional wrestling, flippy stuff wasn't really around too much. And it slowly got introduced to it, but like the nitty gritty is wrestling, and it's beautiful, and it's a beautiful sport, man. And there's nothing like it, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. And I've once I started going to local shows, I started going to PWG and started going to PCW Ultra and seeing the different aspects of it. Then I started really because, as a kid, I grew up watching the old school, WWE stuff and WCW, and, it was cool, but it was mostly about the characters. I never really looked at it as a sport type of thing. It was mostly like, oh, the Macho Man or the Snake guy. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But once I started going to the local shows and seeing the physicality and how crazy it can get, and I don't know, I just started really appreciating the grind that goes into it, the discipline, the trust also that the two competitors have with each other, because you have to trust each other to not kill each other. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to die in the ring.
I mean, although I try sometimes, but
but you, even yourself, I know you're not a flippy type of guy, but you're definitely athletic. I've seen some of your matches. You get around. For a big guy, you get around quick.
I mean, I definitely attest that to my amateur wrestling background. Again, like amateur wrestling is. I mean, I consider it the toughest sport on earth. Because I mean, if you look at UFC too, like a lot of the guys that are excelling are former amateur wrestlers, and it's a great base to have, even transitioning to professional wrestling. And I think I definitely have an advantage going into Bloodsport because of that background. So, and it's great, man. And yeah, it also transitioned great to like when I have to do a quick movement or something, and once in a while do a little flip here and there, but that's just to show off to the crowd a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's an impressive feat to see someone of your size, do a flip. I mean, it's more impressive than like a smaller dude, like 150 pounder. We expect that, but nobody expects it when you're flying around. Like if you do a move, it's like, whoa. And like you were saying, the amateur wrestling background really does grind you. It makes you, it like sharpens you, and it makes you tough. Because it's that constant, grinding chess match, like pushing forward and getting pushed back. And I don't know. I really admire everybody that does that for a living, just because it's a grind. It's a grind. It's like construction worker that's out there every day fucking shoveling. It's that similar type of grind. You're out there working as hard as you physically possibly can.
Right.
And you have an Olympic background. You were in the Olympics, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And has that been something that you've wanted to go back to at one point? I mean, I don't even know if they're still doing the Olympics with the pandemic, but
I mean, as far as I know, they're still, like, they're talking about, like, I read an article about the basketball that's supposed to start like in, I'll say, like July for the Olympic Games here in Tokyo. So, I mean, they're gonna do it. I haven't heard anything different here. So,
well, if it's in Japan, I mean, they had Wrestle Kingdom, which you were a part of, with a crowd. So
right,
they're definitely back into the full swing of reality. I mean, have you kept up with that? You know, being out there now since you're signed with New Japan and you're spending more time out there. Have you been watching what's going on with the lockdowns? Like here in LA, we don't have shows anymore. There's no live local shows.
Yeah, I mean, because when the pandemic struck, we couldn't come over to Japan. Like we were stuck at home for about 6 months, and we just keep in contact with the office and whatnot. And they'll let us know what's going on here and there. And then they did the New Japan Cup last year with no fans. And then they did another tour with no fans. And then they slowly, because they did it great. Like the lockdown, like Japan was really good about, when Japan was like, hey, wear a mask, everybody wear a mask. Hey, stay at home, everybody stayed at home. And they did it great to where now, like, it's not back to where it's normal, but there's a sense of normalcy here where, like, prime example, like Wrestle Kingdom, we have 13,000 each night. And that's more than anything that any of the companies in America has had, like, in this year. So, they're doing something right here, and, they're following the rules, or washing their hands, washing their asses and all that stuff. So they're doing it right. And, to see the progression from no fans to like 20% capacity to 40% capacity to 50% capacity to 13,000 in one night. It's a cool thing. And I hope they're going in the right direction, and, and hopefully we can kind of get back to normal pretty soon.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with the culture too, man. I mean, I know Japanese culture is known to be very respectful about, for other people. Like one of the big things they were talking about at the World Cup last time was how the Japanese fans were cleaning up after themselves in the stadium. It's like, they care about other people, whereas in America it's a little more selfish. People, they're like, I need to party. When can I get out of my house?
Yeah, I mean, if we just if we just hunker down for a little bit, I'd rather do 1 month than 1 year, and it seems like that's what we're on right now, so.
Yeah, we're almost at a whole year. I mean, one more month, it's a whole year of lockdown, no shows, no nothing. And for me, I'm a big music fan. And wrestling. So I was either at a wrestling show or at a music show, and it's been a full year of just being at home. It's rough, man.
Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, we're adapting. Everybody's trying to adapt to the best they can, and then, man, hopefully we get back to normal, because us as professional wrestlers, we love the feel of the live crowd, man, and especially it's anywhere too, like even at a concert, what I'm saying, like, yeah, I mean, you can watch like a little concert on TV. Like I remember there was a couple guys that I can't remember who at the top of my head, but they were doing like a little like couple concert specials or something with like no fans or whatever, or a couple fans here and there. I was like, it's not the same, man.
It's not, man. All those live streams they're cool if you put a lot of production value into it, but at the same time, it's not the same.
Yeah, just being there and just like feeling off of the guy next to you who's rocking out to a song or something. It's just, there's nothing like that, or being at a show and you're just like, think, fuck yeah, kick his ass, and then the other guy hey man, I like that other guy, you know. So there's nothing like a live audience.
Yeah, no, and pro wrestling, that was one thing. I talked to Josh. I had him on the show not too before I think Bloodsport 3, and we were talking about that specifically. How in the Bloodsport world, the audience isn't that important. I mean, it's still important, but it's more about the combat and the contest. But like with New Japan or an AEW or a WWE or something like that, like the audience is such a big part of it. They're the ones cheering on, and me as a fan, I enjoy listening to the crowd reaction. When there's a nice, something happens in the ring that's impressive, and you hear the crowd kind of gasp. It adds a whole new element to the experience.
Definitely, and it makes you wrestle a lot harder. Because there's times that Wrestle Kingdom match I had a couple of weeks ago with Shingo Takagi, man, like that was like I felt that for a couple of days, but like, the fans that were in attendance, like you could hear them gasping and like cheering, although they're not supposed to cheer, but they were totally into that match, and it definitely helped me get through the match. Although I didn't win, but it just felt it was an awesome feeling, and then I felt it like a couple days after, like on a plane ride home, dude. 13-hour plane ride home didn't feel great being but at that moment, in that moment with the fans, it was awesome.
Well, it gives you also, I'm guessing, like kind of that adrenaline rush where you don't really feel the hits as much until later,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
you said, like on the flight home or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But working in New Japan, I mean, you're working with some of the most talented professional wrestlers in the business compared to some other like local organizations that you were a part of, or even like bigger ones. Because I mean, you made an appearance on AEW. For a minute there, I thought that was going to be your next career move, but I guess the pandemic happened, and also just contracts and everything. How did that all pan out for you? I mean, is the door still open for you to do that later on?
I mean, as of right now, like I'm contracted with New Japan, and I'm very happy where I'm at. I like to look at like where I think I would fit in better, and I feel like my style would fit in so much better at a New Japan setting. If we go, I don't know I don't deal with the office stuff, like, so I don't know like if we're doing anything, like, because Kenta showed up, I guess.
Right, yeah, they're working together, I think, a little bit. There's something going on.
Yeah. I mean, because as far as I know, we still have a good relationship with the Ring of Honor, and we have we do a little bit with Impact as well. Because like our USA tapings, we have a couple of Impact guys on our show as well. So, I mean, as long as egos don't get in the way, we can make some beautiful money.
Yeah, it's very interesting watching what's going on. I mean, do you watch the products at all that are out there, or you just focus on training and whatnot?
Yeah, I see like bits and pieces on like the internet and stuff like that. Like, I don't follow it religiously because, there's just so much content right now. Like WWE has like, I don't even know how many shows they have. Like, they have Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and 205 Live, and like NXT.
Too many shows.
And then there's AEW, and then Ring of Honor has a show, and Impact does a show, and then so it's a little tough to keep. But I follow to an extent like what I see on like results and whatnot on the internet, and that definitely helps out. Like if there's something that I want to see badly that I've read somewhere, then I'll find a way to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's there. Like you said, there's too many shows. I can't keep up with all of them. I watch some MLW just because I know some of the guys there. I watch some of the Impact for the same reason, and the only WWE stuff that I watch is for that. Is like if somebody that I know is there, and I'm like, all right, I'll just support the homie. But it's really cool to see what's going on where AEW is working with people from Impact, and they're working with Ring of Honor. I don't know if they're working with Ring of Honor, but definitely Impact and definitely New Japan, and it's kind of cool to see that intermingling. Whereas, you know, for years it was always the competition, you know, and nobody wanted to do that. It was just, oh, we have our own thing when you have your own thing. I think that I would love to see more of that intermingling, you know. It would be cool to see certain talent hit Bloodsport that I you know, I would love to see, like you versus somebody from like a, let's say Cesaro, who's somebody that I know he's like a big star over there at WWE, but he also can throw down. Like that's a real athlete right there. You know what I mean? I'd love to see both of you guys in like a blood sport type scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you never know with in wrestling. You always say never say never. So
that's true. I wanted to ask you, man. You've been you know, physically you've been getting in better shape. You're you know, you're more muscular. You're in, like, you're trimming down. Like, is there something in your diet that you changed that you could share that maybe, you know, somebody that's looking to get into that kind of shape? Because you're a bigger guy, but you're muscular, you know?
Yeah, like I had a nagging injury that was bugging me for a while. Like my shoulder was bugging me for a while. So it definitely hindered what I could do in the weight room wise. Like I couldn't do, like, because I used to love doing like Olympic lifts and whatnot. But then my shoulder was bugging me a lot to where like it would hurt to do them. Eventually I kind of got over it, and I did a couple of stem cell treatments, and it's been doing great right now. Like it's feeling good. So definitely stepped up the training aspect of it. Being in Vegas, the fight capital of the world, started training out there with Tom Lawler.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, we keep it professional where, like, you know, if we wrestle at Bloodsport or something, like there's no hard feelings when we come to the gym, because it's just straight learning and whatnot. And there's a respect about the gym and training and learning and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely putting that with a little bit of amateur wrestling back into my training regimen has helped out a lot.
Have you considered doing MMA? Have you thought about like going? No.
Yeah. Hello. It was huge. Like when I was like a junior or senior in high school, it was starting to take off really big. Like the UFC all over the world, and like in our area, especially too, like Hawaii and Guam area, like MMA was huge. Like they would do like fights a couple months, and it was always sold out. Like there's like 20,000 people all the time. And, you know, I got a couple offers, but I'm like, nah, it's just not me. Like I'm an amateur wrestler first and foremost. Like never trained like boxing or Muay Thai or anything like that. So I'm like, nah, definitely didn't want to. Yeah. Because, like, you know, at the end of the day, it takes a special breed to get punched in the face and then, you know, want more. Like I always say, like, I have a face for this is my money maker. And obviously it hasn't made me that much money yet. So, but I don't want to risk anything else happening to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, you're getting elbows, you're getting cut up, you know, it's not a good thing. Like you said, it takes a special breed of animal to just want more and more of that, you know, and it's but there is that kind of connection with MMA and pro wrestling. Like you see, like you were mentioning Tom Lawler, like he used to be MMA full time, now he's a pro wrestler. So I mean, I always admire those that can make the transition. There's some that tried to make the transition the other way around, didn't really work out. Not gonna throw anybody under the bus.
Yeah, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be a part of that. That group. So I, you know, what I'm saying, like, that's why I just prefer not. I know I'm realistic with my things, and I know I'm not like especially with my weight. Like I'm not gonna like. I don't know who the heavyweight champ is. Like I'm not about to go throw down with friggin' like Frank Mir or something like that. I'm like, dude, he's like 6'1", he's got a huge ass reach. And I'm like 5'10" and like 250. I'm like, dude, no, that's not. And I'm not. And my days of cutting weight are over. I don't want to cut weight ever again. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's so unhealthy for you.
Yeah, I did that for years in amateur wrestling. I'm like, I'm kind of over that already.
Yeah. So what's the future like for you? I mean, obviously, Bloodsport's going to keep going. So that's something I'm sure you want to stay or keep being a part of. But what are some of your goals for the next coming couple years? How long do you plan on wrestling?
I've always told myself I don't want to wrestle until I'm like 50 or 60, like some people, and more power to the guys that want to do that. Like don't want to be, I don't want to I don't want to overstay my welcome. But as long as my body's holding up and I'm making money and I'm having fun, that's all you can ask for in wrestling. Like people were like, yeah, it's hard to walk away from professional wrestling. It definitely is. Like the downtime we had during the pandemic, that was kind of rough, like, because I'm used to traveling every weekend doing something or flying. Like, and then when my biggest thing that I did in March was, go to the grocery store and fight people for toilet paper. That's not exactly how I want to spend my days. But I mean, eventually, it's going to come to an end. But up until then, I'm going to keep making as much waves as I can. And, I had that big match with Shingo at Wrestle Kingdom. Unfortunately, I didn't come out on top, but that just made me more hungry and I definitely want that championship back. I like that division. I like that style of wrestling. It's almost like in a sense, it's kind of like the Bloodsport, like it's just beat the shit out of each other. And, I definitely like that style. So and like you touched on, as long as, if Bloodsport keep going, like and I can make it, I'm definitely going to be there.
Nice, man. Yeah. And I mean, some of the old school wrestling guys are always like, oh, if you're not doing it to be at WrestleMania, then you're not doing it for the right reasons or blah, blah, blah. Like, is that ever a goal for you? Like, do you see that as a dream to be at WrestleMania? Is that something that you aspire to?
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. And there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I would never go to WWE. Well, you know what? I will guarantee you that they're lying. Is it the end all be all anymore? Probably not. But I mean, to say that you don't want to go to WWE, I think that's a bold-faced lie. But I think, like I said, you never say never. But as of right now, I'm with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I love her. And I'm able to do, I'm with New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm able to do Bloodsport, and schedule permitting, of course. But until that time, I'm being New Japan and Bloodsport through and through.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm hoping that, I've talked to Josh about it, and I know he's kind of flirted with the idea of creating some kind of championship at Bloodsport, because I think that would be cool to have, even if it's like not a belt that, you have a champion that you carries it around or whatever, but like they did with the women's tournament last time where they get a trophy, something like that. I think that would be kind of cool to have, just to, show your accomplishments at Bloodsport, and I think the bigger it gets, it'll eventually get to that point where they'll need to have something.
Yeah, we all need something to fight for, but as of right now, we're just fighting for bragging rights.
Fighting for bragging rights. I mean, it's a good thing to have on your resume, that's for sure, because the pedigree, the type of talent that's on there, Josh himself, I mean, he's definitely turned that whole thing around, because I know it started with Matt Riddle, but once he took over, it's definitely grown to a whole new level, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Matt did as best as he could with it, and it was good, but then he decided with WWE, so somebody had to take over, and I can't think of a better person to take over than Josh.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a former pro wrestler, former UFC fighter, UFC heavyweight champion. I mean, I'm sorry, don't let him come after me about that, but he's definitely qualified to run this, and I'm happy. Yeah. Happy that he took the reins and ran with it.
Now, I've done as much as I could to in the past to promote Bloodsport to non, I guess, casual fans. You know what I mean? How would you convince or explain Bloodsport to someone that just watches like WWE or something, like a casual fan?
Oh man, usually I always tell them you're going to see way more action at Bloodsport. I guess people have been trained now to watch wrestling a certain way or whatever. And Bloodsport to the average person that's just going to see it for the first time, maybe like, whoa, this is weird. Like, why are they just, they're just laying there or whatever. Like, you have to understand, like, it's something that is going to have to be taught to the casual audience because they're used to seeing a certain style from television wrestling. But I think with the popularity of mixed martial arts, not just the UFC, but like Bellator and PFL and all that, like the popularity of those is definitely training the casual audience to notice different styles and different aspects. So I think, you kind of tie it to like the UFC because they're the biggest company in the world, right? So people are like, well, if you like UFC, then you'll find something on Bloodsport you'll like, and usually I just tell them like, it's just like UFC, but with the wrestling aspect of it. And they're like, oh, really cool. And then you try and check it out, and they end up liking it. So yeah, there's something for everybody. Pro wrestling is, you can find something that you'll like in everything, and I think Bloodsport is definitely one of them.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, dude, I'm gonna let you go. I know you got a busy schedule, and I know it's like the future over there. It's Monday, 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm ready to go to bed, but everybody that's watching, bloodsport.watch, I believe, is the website to order the pay-per-view, February 13th. So the day before Valentine's Day. You can get your boys' day, and then the next day you take care of your girlfriend and your wife or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, tune in, bloodsport.watch. Dude, Jeff Cobb, thank you so much for your time, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for spreading the good word of Bloodsport, man.
For sure. I'm hoping that, when LA opens back up and some of the local shows open back up, I can catch you here at one of the shows.
Definitely, I'll be there. Come by. I talk a lot, unfortunately. So,
I still have one of the cans, like you said, of your beer with you on it. You signed it for me, so I have it on the display case with all the other autographs. But
right on,
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother.